Now esophagus is called the food pipe. Similarly, trachea is termed as the wind pipe because it carries the air. So air passes from pharynx into this pipe. So this was the pharynx. This portion was pharynx. From pharynx it passes through the trachea. So this structure which you see is trachea. So it extends up to the mid-thoracic cavity. So what is this thoracic cavity? Now our body, the entire body as such, is divided into three parts. The upper portion is known as the head. The next portion, this one, is known as the thorax. And then the next lower portion is known as the abdomen. So this entire cavity is called the thoracic cavity, the cavity which contains the thorax. That is the thoracic cavity, and this entire cavity is known as the abdominal cavity. So when we talk about the trachea extends up to the mid-thoracic cavity. That means up to the middle of this thoracic cavity. So it extends till there. After that, what happens? That is why you see here, it starts from here and it extends only till here. But the thoracic cavity extends up to this part. But the trachea extends only up to half of the thoracic cavity. After that, it enters inside the lungs where it gets divided into bronchi and bronchioles. So we will talk about that also very soon. Now C-shaped rings of cartilage are present. Now in order to provide support to the trachea, you can see some structures like this. So what are these? These are nothing but rings of cartilage. So these cartilage helps in preventing the trachea to collapse even if there is no air. So it should not be like an elastic structure that when air is there it is fine, but if there is no air it will be like it will get collapsed. That should not happen. So if we don't want that to happen, there has to be some strong base on which the trachea should remain stout and as it is, even if there is no air. So for that purpose there are cartilaginous rings, because cartilage is quite strong. So when you have rings of cartilage to support it, so in that case it doesn't matter whether air is present inside or not, but the trachea will remain as it is. It is internally lined by cilia and mucus, again because cilia and mucus help to block the dust particles, and it also helps to prevent the respiratory organs from infection of microorganisms or germs. Right? So that is why. So now you see one thing, that all of the respiratory system has lining of cilia and mucus, so that you can actually get rid of as much as dust particles as possible, so that the air which reaches your lungs finally should be very clean and neat without any impurity. So this trachea runs from the throat till the thoracic cavity. Now as I said, how do you know where is the end of the thoracic cavity? This diaphragm. Now I'll tell you what is diaphragm. So here you see a line, a dome shaped structure. So this denotes the end of thoracic cavity, and after the thoracic cavity starts the abdominal cavity, and that is the cavity where you have most of your digestive organs like the stomach, the intestine, small intestine, liver, pancreas, all those things are present in the abdominal cavity. So thoracic cavity is filled with your lungs, some portion of the trachea. So that is all about trachea. The next important part, that is the lungs. The most important, or the key organ of the respiratory system. So they are spongy elastic organs. Now they are elastic in nature because they have this need of expansion and contraction. That's because when we breathe in, so let us suppose you are taking in air, that means you have some extra volume of air to be accommodated. So that has to be accommodated somewhere within the lungs. So the lungs should possess some elasticity. Similarly, when you are breathing out air, so you are removing out a lot of extra air from your lungs. So that expansion and contraction should be there in your lungs. So the lungs are also located in the thoracic cavity. As you can see here, these are the two lungs, the right and the left lung, and they are located in the thoracic cavity. So there are two lungs, right and left. The right lung has 3 lobes, whereas the left lung has two lobes. So this is the right lung and this is the left lung. So this lung is actually divided into three lobes like this. This is 1, this is 2 and this is 3. So 1, 2 and 3. These are the three lobes into which the right lung is divided. Similarly, the left lung is divided into two lobes like this. This is 1 and this is 2. Now here you can see that near the left lung there is a little notch like this. Now this is the place where the heart is located. So the heart is located somewhere here in this space which is made by the left lung. So that is the position of the heart. Okay, so this is about the lobes which are present in the lungs. Now the lung is enclosed by a two-layered membrane which is called pleura. So here if you see there is a two-layer membrane. This is the outer layer and this is the inner layer. So this is outer layer and this is inner layer. Now why are there two layers? Because as I said, these lungs are spongy organs, quite soft and elastic. So they need to be well protected. So in order to keep them protected, we have a double layer structure. Now in between these two layers, a fluid like substance is present which actually keeps it all the more protected. So it plays a very important role in breathing and oxygen absorption. So the lung plays the key role in breathing and also in oxygen absorption. Now how it plays an important role, that we will see when we talk about the structures which are present inside the lung, like the bronchi, bronchioles and the alveoli. Now if you look at the location of the lung, the lower portion of the lungs rest on this structure called diaphragm, which is a muscular structure. We will talk about diaphragm also separately. Now this cavity, which is known as the pleural cavity, between the two layers, as I said, that space is known as pleural cavity. And this pleural cavity contains a fluid which is used to provide lubrication and also to prevent friction. So that means, as I said, when we breathe in, the extra air is accommodated inside the lung and that happens because of its elasticity. So it plays a very important role in breathing and oxygen absorption. So now when we look at the different lobes, the lobe which is present on the above side, that is known as the superior lobe, and the lobe which is present below is called the inferior lobe. Similarly in the right lung, this is the superior lobe, this is the inferior lobe and this is the middle lobe. So the three lobes in the right lung are superior, middle and inferior.